Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Third Wind podcast. My name is Frederick, and I am joined by.
Nick, as usual.
And Today we will talk about Michael Jackson, someone who
Oof.
I personally enjoy for his musicianship, and I love his music. But
Musicianship.
something has come out
Good word.
recently which has caused great controversy, and we decided let's talk about it. I think that there's a lot of room open for discussion. And What do you think, Nick?
I mean,
What is your background with Michael Jackson? When was the first time you heard of him?
hmm, well, yeah, actually, I think I was 9 years old. I had a friend who was like infatuated with him, not in the way that, uh,
Uh
not in
huh.
the pedo way, which soon we'll find out is the actual way, apparently. Anyways, no, like when I was maybe 9 or 10, I had a friend who was like really into him, and he had all of his music, like all of his early albums and stuff, and we'd listen. And when Michael Jackson died, like he got really sad and stuff. And, I wasn't personally too terribly into him. I mean, we had his music like on family albums and stuff, like mixtapes, not albums. Just slight childhood memories. No, not never was terribly into his music, but I respected him more as a musician and just someone who's a creative genius. Um, Otherwise, not much else. How about you? How did you get to know him or get into him?
I think my first experiences with him involved, his hits. But I think the one which really kind of made me start thinking more about him was "We Are the World," which was, granted way before I was born.
Oh yeah, we sang that also in I remember in lower school we actually sang that for our music recital once.
Yeah,
I
in
think in fifth
elementary
grade.
school, I don't know what the occasion was. It was like Earth Day or something, but we sang it every year, I
Yeah,
believe, for a while.
yeah.
Uh, and that was a really good experience, and I love that video to this day. Um,
Oh, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
the cause was
Really cool
great.
performance.
Yeah, and they actually recreated that. What was it called?
They
Africa.
redid it?
Yeah, they redid it for Haiti in 2010, and they replaced
What?
Lionel Richie. They replaced with Justin Bieber, which
Who did they replace Michael
sums it up.
Jackson with?
Michael
'Cause
Jackson.
he was dead by then, right?
I can't
2010,
remember. Yeah,
2009.
yeah. I can't remember who was the replacement for Michael Jackson. If I'm completely, maybe it was Janet Jackson. I'm not sure. Um,
Another
I
Jackson.
Yeah,
Bring him back.
I'm not sure, but yeah, the what the
Yeah, we
only
are
way
the
to
world.
sum it up is yeah, we are the world. But it was called USA for Africa or something like that, right?
Mm,
Yeah,
I
but they
guess.
redid
It
it,
was
and
like
it
the
was
Live Aid
obviously
from the 20th of 20. It was the Live Aid of the 21st century, except
yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
song.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the remake was okay, but it's
The
nothing
remake.
compared to
Yeah.
the original. But for me,
Oh, of
Michael Jackson,
course.
I love his music. I can't really picture a moment where I was like, his song comes on either on the radio or on a playlist. And I'm like, damn it, like skip. Like I never had that kind of feeling towards his
Yeah.
music.
He's like, yeah, he's a classic artist. Like, no one held any ill will or any kind of like, yeah, no, not a good song. Yeah, he just made classics.
He made
Just
you
sucks
move.
about what came out. He made you move.
Yeah.
Damn
So
straight.
for those people who haven't heard, there's a documentary that came out, I think around 10 days ago. Today's the 15th, no 14th of March,
14th of March.
2019. 14th, yeah. And basically, not to spoil, I guess. I mean, if you're here, click off now if you don't want spoilers, I guess. But documentaries aren't really
Click off the
designed that
entire
way.
video.
Yeah. But basically, it's these two grown men who, as children, were close with Michael Jackson, and they described their relationship with Michael Jackson, which was, these 7 or 11-year-old boys that become best friends with Michael Jackson, and eventually those relationships spiral into sexual relationships, almost as if they were, boyfriends, which was really
Basically,
disturbing to hear.
Michael Jackson became a pedophile.
Yeah, but it was described in a way almost like it was, they were in a relationship and, they were best friends, and it was really, really hard to listen to. And it really shed a different light on him that I had never kind of considered before. And one of those boys, he wasn't in the documentary, but I just learned that Macaulay Culkin was that boy. He would alternate
The
between
Kevin
new
Kevin
boys.
McAllister
Home
from
Alone.
Home Alone. Yeah.
Yeah, but he would every there was one of the moms in the documentary said that she noticed a pattern that every 12 months or every 6 months, I can't remember, he would have a new boy, and it was always a boy. It was never a girl. And that it was,
But Michael
it's
Jackson, he had wives at some point. Like wasn't he
no,
married?
he
Or he
was
had a
married,
girlfriend?
married once or twice, and he had children, but he was never attracted to women. It seemed. Um,
He just did it because of like
and
social
I
pressure or
believe
whatever,
I believe later, yeah, it
I
was,
guess.
he told the little boys that, oh, I'm gonna have to do this, and it's just gonna be make believe and blah blah blah, but
Damn, wait,
I
wait. So he did it while he was like fucking the kids? He did it while he was, well, like
well,
with the
I
kids or
believe at
whatever?
that period there was a long break, but I think there was a I can't
Jeez.
remember if there was a reoccurring sexual. I don't think there's actually any
Imagine what his
sexual.
wife must have thought.
Well,
Well, his wife at the
I
time,
don't
or
think that they actually loved each other. I think it was for show. I think I don't have a source on this, but I think that there was something saying that they never actually had sex. I don't know how that. I don't know how accurate that is, but it
mm,
really does seem that Michael Jackson was not particular. That was, it was all for show, and I don't know if he probably loved his kids, but I don't know enough about this to discuss it. But it's messed up. I also don't know if he had any sexual relations with little boys after he got married. Um,
mm,
so that's something I need to look into.
right. I do know though. Maybe it was in the documentary. I'll be honest, I didn't see the whole thing, but it was in 1993 that he had the actual like he actually got tried like for uh like the molesting the kids, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was in
Uh,
1983. Yeah, so
he
like
won that
he
trial. Mm.
yeah, which he won because the kids just denied everything because that's how child abuse works. But like he was he married after that or was he still or was he like
He
just married
w-
before that?
I believe he
Oh, let
after
me look this up.
after.
Kind of curious.
Let me. Yeah, actually, go ahead.
Yeah.
Actually, I can do it.
Uh, dude, he was from Gary, Indiana.
Who?
Damn. Michael
Like,
Jackson.
oh, really? I mean,
Yeah, he's from my birth
it.
state,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
which
really
means
cool.
a fuck ton of stuff.
Where's
Definitely
Motown?
meaning. No, I mean
Is
it doesn't mean anything.
I
I'm not a
honestly.
pedophile. All right, kid.
Do you know what Motown is? Like, I know
Motown.
it's that's his childhood. I think it's either the location of where he recorded his music at, like, the group, musical group Jackson Five, or it's
Motown.
or yeah, I'm because that's like his
It's a music
beginnings.
recording company.
Yeah,
It's a
okay. So
label,
he
probably
was
or
with
something.
Motown.
Yeah.
That's where he started. I don't know where that's located, but let's see here. Marriage.
It's in Detroit.
There's nothing
Oh,
about
it's in
marriage.
Detroit, New York City, and L.A.
Mm-hmm.
So he had okay. So he had two wives. He had Debbie Rowe and Lisa Marie Presley. His first wife, Lisa Marie Presley, he married in 1994. So just after so right after the trials, actually.
Yeah.
And then he divorced her 2 years later, married Debbie Rowe, then divorced her in 1999, and then I guess it has probably something to do with like the whole painkiller stuff, because that went on for like a few years, right?
Not sure.
No,
But it
I
seems
don't
like
know.
it's a really good timing for right after the trials, almost to cover himself. He gets married, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Uh, but the fact is that the one kind of reasoning that people have given for why Michael Jackson was this way with kids is that he people genuinely thought, all these mothers of all these boys thought that he genuinely was a kid. They felt like they were almost like their second
Yeah, I
son.
remember
Like,
seeing that. Like he would come over to I forget one of the kids' house, one of the two kids in the documentary. He'd just come over to their house, and the mom would like make them dinner and stuff, and do his like even she said I think she said she even did his laundry like at some
Yeah,
points. Like
yeah. And
he was just like another kid.
he genuinely liked cartoons. He genuinely liked playing games. You know, he was robbed of a childhood, and even and later in the documentary, they even said Michael Jackson even says in this like video message that he doesn't celebrate birthdays, but he tells the kid, "Happy birthday! I don't celebrate happy birthdays, but happy birthday! I wish you." Celebrations on the day you were born and blah blah blah. But I'm guessing
It's
he
like
never celebrated
Larry David
birthdays
from.
because
It's
his
like Larry
parents
David
never.
from, or
Yeah, go ahead.
his parents never what?
No, his parents probably never celebrated his birthday. I'm guessing.
Oh, damn. So see, because like yeah, that's something you were actually talking to me about earlier. You said like he had a kind of like a fucked up childhood or something.
Well,
Like some people have been justifying like the stuff he's done, kind of not justifying it, but like sympathizing with him because he had a rough childhood or he had a weird childhood or a lack of a childhood,
he ever
right?
since he was, I think four, around four, he was put on this in the spotlight, and he was he became an instant
Because he was a child
celebrity.
actor,
His career started when he was like four. So when you start a career when you're four and you're doing something professional, and he was in Jackson Five, right? That was his like beginning point.
right?
Um, he was like the star of the band, and basically his dad pushed him and all of his brothers super hard, and he never really had a childhood in that sense because he
Dang.
you know
That makes you wonder,
uh
like, where does like the pedophile behavior, like, where does it come from?
well, I
Like, what
wouldn't even.
sparks it? Could it be like a childhood like that? It's like it
I'm
seems
guessing
kind of weird.
it's a mixture of him losing his teenage and childhood years. One, he was genuinely friends with these kids. He was, the kids explain like they were genuinely friends, and even Macaulay Culkin's like, yeah, this was a genuine friendship that we had. But there's also with that, I'm guessing he was super lonely. He was probably pretty horny, and he figured like
He
I don't
just
think
he had
I
his
don't even
horny
think.
teenage years when he was an adult
Honestly,
because he was
I don't even
deprived of
think
them.
that I don't even think he ever meant harm to the kids. Like genuinely don't think he meant harm. I think he was just
He just
he
didn't see
craved it.
anything wrong with like
Yeah, he craved
not
it,
ta-
and
what he didn't think was taking advantage of him. What was completely taking advantage of them.
yeah, most of the kids never thought of it as abuse, even like, because they were just they described it as showing their love for one another, right? So I think he was genuinely messed up in the
Damn, it
head,
just sounds
Michael
so like
Jackson.
fucked up.
It's really messed up, right? But I think he was genuinely messed up in the head. I think that his actions are unforgivable, but I think that there's a genuine explanation for why he is
He ended
the
up the
way he
way
is.
he
Yeah,
was.
and it just goes to show that how important a childhood is, and how important, you always hear the craziest, the murderers, the serial killers, they always have messed up parents, always. Like, it goes to show how important your early years are to develop.
Developmental stage
Yeah.
of your life is.
Not to mention that
Shit, though.
Michael Jackson went through a lot of different stuff, a lot of like disease, I believe, and you know, uh, skin diseases and whatnot.
Really.
And I think he really,
The skin disease was later, like the whole melanin loss. Like that
I
was when
believe
he was. That was towards
in
the end of his life, right?
you
Or was
think
that
so?
since he was a kid?
I think
No,
that
I don't
ever
know. I'm
since
just asking.
in his teenage years, he was still, very dark skinned. But I think straight
Yeah. I
after
mean,
his
if you look
teenage
like from,
years,
I mean, he was still dark skinned like in Thriller. Like if you've seen like you obviously seen
yeah,
Thriller.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone's seen Thriller.
yeah.
Like yeah, he was pretty dark skinned at that time.
But
I think it was
he was
after
doing
like
it,
the Bad album that he started like doing the
yeah.
surgery, right?
But
The
he was
bleaching.
fairly young around Thriller as well, though. Fairly young.
Yeah. Which, by the way, a slight tangent. That like music video is epic.
Oh
Like, it's
yeah,
insane. Like as a kid, like that
total
was like one of my
respect.
favorite music videos. Absolute
Oh,
respect. Yeah. Like
same.
it's like oh, it was just so cool. Like he
The dance
uh
moves too, like
yeah, like
everything.
it's kind of like a little story, very
I love the
creative, very
zombies.
cool. Yeah, the
Love the
zombies was
zombies.
pretty cool. Yeah, it was like
I just love it.
ironically, a lot of his content ended up being very family friendly.
Oh, but
which
the
is
thing is that
so
he was
scary looking back at
gen
right now.
no, but he was genuinely a child. He was a child inside, you know. He genuinely liked things that children liked. So
Yeah.
it's odd. It really is. So
Yeah. The documentary, by the way, that we forgot to mention, is called Leaving Neverland,
yeah,
which is
I
pretty
I ha-
cool. Actually, an
I'm
interesting title.
almost through
Pretty
it. It's really long. It's 4 hours
almost through
long.
it.
So you
Yeah, it's
really
four
have to
hours.
sit down and kind of
Yeah.
tune in.
Yeah.
I
I personally think
also
it's worth a listen, but a lot of people have criticized it. Like a lot of people are still don't believe it or are sympathetic to Michael Jackson. Some people just flat out don't believe the content of like the documentary, saying, "Well, okay, the guys are like 30 or whatever. Why didn't they come out when they were 20, or why didn't they come out sooner?" It looks really bad. It looks like every kind of scandal of these that the kids just come out when they're adults and they need some money, and then HBO's like, "Hey, we're doing a documentary," and they're like, "Oh, really? You are? I need some money," and then they do the thing when they could have done it earlier. Makes you wonder. So like some people are very skeptical about it.
one of the hardest things is when there isn't hard proof like a video or a picture
Right. Yeah.
because
There's no
um
damning evidence. There's nothing that
no,
like easily would convict him.
most
We can
cases
only
like
kind of
this,
know that he did it, but without being able to prove it.
and he can't defend himself. He's dead, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So
he's dead, but even no matter what happens, I mean, it doesn't matter to him. He's dead. It maybe matters to his kids or his family, but uh, he did it and kind of got away with it
yeah,
for an extent.
I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had a comment which I thought it was really interesting about how Michael Jackson was potentially chemically castrated by his parents, meaning that he
Mm.
basically
They cut off his
was
balls,
no, but basically I guess, but with chemicals,
basically.
they basically killed his
They chemically neutered him.
yeah, and his he didn't produce testosterone, I think, or
That would explain a lot of the insanely high notes he hits.
well, exactly. His voice does not sound like a male
Oh,
voice.
really?
Like that's what Joe Rogan said. I mean, exactly. It sounds like it's not a male voice he has. It's very female.
Yeah.
He almost looks like a female in a sense. I don't
Well,
know
I
if
mean,
that
I
has anything to
guess.
do with it, but I think that there's definitely
Like you're saying, like he's just kind of more effeminate. That would
yeah.
kind of like
I
make
think
more
that
sense.
I don't
Hmm.
think that a male can actually maintain a voice like that. I don't think that that's
There's some pretty
biologically.
effeminate guys out there. I mean, there's
But
quite a
it
lot of
doesn't
girly
really
guys.
have
It is
a lot to
possible.
be. It doesn't have to do with being feminine. It has to do with the way your body is compared to what it should be. In terms of like, he shouldn't be able to speak like that. He sounds
Right.
exactly like he sounded like when he was 6 years old. And the only way, I guess, because if there was I'm
If you
just kind
don't
of
do
repeating what
puberty.
Joe Rogan said here, but he was that like star,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, the little kid. He would never maintain the moment he hit puberty, like his voice would go to shit, and at least until he learned to schooled his voice and learned how to use his grown voice. But I guess there's
But he must have had
some
like voice coaches and stuff. Like he didn't just, do this shit.
well, the
Like
big
he
problem.
definitely practiced it, right?
No, of course. But the problem with children singers, a lot of times there are a lot, and I've heard countless stories where this kid's a great when he has his especially males. It's because when you hit puberty, your voice changes and it throws everything
Right.
off until you learn how to school it. And some people, they give
So
up
so it
after
is
that.
possible. It is possible to school to like teach yourself to, I guess, revert to those high pitched voices and
No,
like
no,
be
not
able to do
revert.
that again. No, no. I mean,
Not
I
no
don't
no
mean
no.
revert. I mean get those notes. Sorry. I mean like you can do that again.
You can
Like, is it
probably hit the
possible as
notes,
an
but you'll
adult?
never sound the same as you did when you were a kid. You can
Hmm.
learn to use that grown voice and probably hit the same notes if you school your voice and if you don't mistreat your voice, but you can never sound like you did when you were 6, or when you were 9. So a lot of kids lose that kind of their sound, and companies will drop them, for example, because they're no longer
Right.
the cute little kid. But Michael Jackson kind of kept his voice,
Yeah,
which
it's like
is
the either you're a child star or like you're like a adult star, I guess. It's like
yeah. But
Kevin McAllister from Home Alone.
yeah,
Like the
very
biggest thing he did,
similar
the biggest
case.
thing he's done in like the last few years, he was on a home. Dude, I actually saw this on YouTube. He was on the home. He did it redid a Home Alone ad, except this is
Yeah,
actually a
yeah, yeah,
genius ad by the way. Yeah, you saw it like with
yeah.
instead of all of his traps, he just used Google Home or whatever to like
Hmm.
set up all his traps and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so
I
funny.
saw
He's
the
like a
ad.
grown ass man. It's so funny. I highly recommend
I
watching it, but we are not sponsored
he
by anyone.
he's a really weird guy, by the way. I've watched some of his interviews, and he's quirky and weird.
Yeah, why is it always the child stars and end up kind of fucked up?
Cause
You
they're
know.
robbed of a childhood, you know. They it's all there.
Mm. But
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
can't you like do school and come home, do your homework, and then on
no,
weekends like shoot commercials and no?
no.
Is it
These
more than
kids
that?
didn't go to school. These kids didn't have interaction with other kids. They had interaction with grown
Jeez.
professionals who told them to do stuff.
And
Hey,
occasionally told
kid,
them to blow
uh,
them in the parking lot.
tell tell this interviewer, don't say this, do that, uh, okay, and like they're living a completely manufactured fake life, and they're not talking to
But
kids,
there's no way that can be legal though. Like how can you not be schooled as a child star
well,
like as a
their
child
parents
in this
consented
country?
it. I
Well, it
mean,
doesn't matter. You're robbing them of like an education. Like there's no way that can be legal.
oh, but they got sure, homeschooling is very
Oh, so just
vague.
they like get all
They
oh,
probably
I
had
guess
like
if they're like
on-set
maybe they send
tutors or
someone.
whatnot.
Yeah, they probably have tutors
But
on the set.
that
Still though,
stuff,
it's like
that stuff. There's so many, yeah, there are laws in place, but it doesn't mean that they are followed in a, they're followed to the
yeah,
minimum, because these
right.
companies, what they care about, this kid can make us money, and that's what they're doing, right? The parents,
Yeah,
they're thrilled. Their kid is, a star.
right.
It's
Maybe some
that.
parents want to like do it for the money because like they get some of the money. Like it's not the kid.
Oh,
All the money doesn't go
for
to the
sure.
kid. Like I
I
heard
think
there's a
all of the money goes
percentage
to the
the kid
parents.
gets to. I think you might be wrong. I think there's like a small percentage that goes to the kids. Like the kids get to keep
Mm.
like 30%, but they can only legally use it when they're like 18 or something. So like what a
Right.
lot of
That makes
parents will
sense.
do is they'll like take the 70 and then let the kid have the 30, save it for a college fund, and then just tell the kid to pay his way through college, and the kid just uses what he earned as like a child actor. And he pays through college, gets in air
Well,
quotes, which you can't see like free college, even though he did work like his ass off for it, but it's better than a lot of kids
what's
get.
what's important to think about with Michael as well. He was one of those kids. He got robbed of his childhood. He wanted to have some child interaction. He was lonely. He didn't have any friends. His best friends were
Yeah,
little boys.
the documentary set like made it emphasize a lot that he was very alone, like his whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
get it.
mean,
Like he's a
a man
freaky
who is
dude.
willing to a man who is like 70% of the time he was with these boys wasn't sexual, at night when they were in bed, yeah, sure. Or like when they were apart, the kid who was in Australia, he would have 4-hour conversations with Michael over the phone almost every day after school. That's not sexual,
Jeez.
that's just a friendship. So I don't think that if
Yeah.
Michael was a completely sexually driven man, he wouldn't be feasting on a boy that's halfway across the world. He was genuinely talking to him like as a friend. I'm guessing if
Yeah,
those
but like
on those
the
phone
thing is also that
conversations.
like a lot of these like a lot of sexual predators they end up like being very smart, like very intelligent. They can they like do a lot of mental judo and like they can kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
get people into
obviously.
situations. They like think ahead, like there's a section in the documentary where like um it is implied, it is not confirmed, but it is implied that the families of the kids would be over like the course of his tour and like moved from rooms slightly farther and farther away
Hmm.
from him so they'd have less time to get to the room in case they wanted to check up on them and they happen to be doing like sexual stuff or like you know um, I don't know,
I
but like Michael
I
Jackson was
yeah.
clearly like a smart guy, like
In
which
terms of getting
sucks
what he
because
wants.
in terms
Yeah.
of getting what he wanted, yeah.
I mean, he has the
Like,
same attributes as a cult leader. I think he's a charismatic guy who can influence people one on one, and he can slowly build his
yeah, and
kind of
that's what a lot of like sexual predators end up like having. That's like a very common trait between them. So like,
yeah.
I mean, in my personal perspective, like I don't see him, except for the fact that he is an incredible musician, very creative guy, etc. He doesn't seem to differ
And
from any sexual predator in any meaningful way besides that his career is
don't
in music. Like a lot of
don't
sexual predators
forget
do this kind of thing.
don't forget that Michael, he was one of the most generous people in terms of charity work. He all he ever talked
Oh
about
yeah,
was
no.
peace, world peace, helping children, all this stuff. So
But like
he
the
yeah.
adult like the sexual like the child like the predator thing like it's never like the primary part of their lives. Like they're not scheming to
No, no.
oh
Yeah.
hey look at that kid let's go fuck him or whatever.
No,
Like they
no,
don't
yeah.
just like that's not the primary point in their life, or at least most of them. Like they have a life and like they might donate and stuff. I mean R. Kelly, like that's another recent guy who's like been apparently like been like in the under fire for like similar kinds of shit. Like they have other stuff that they're doing, but like
I,
they're just
I
so
think that
powerful that they can like kind of get what they want in terms of kids.
in my opinion, pedophilia, an attraction to children, is a disease. I don't think that that's something they want for themselves. I think that that's something that's just
No,
genuinely they can't get over. It's like they, no
it's
matter
like
how
a
hard they
mental
try, they
illness.
get married, but they still have this attraction to kids. I don't think that it's horrible,
Do
and
you think it's something
that's
treatable?
probably the worst illness you can have. I think that it's the whole thing with like if you are
Like if he could
at
have
some
been
point
treated for
attracted.
it, do you think like do you think he could have been I mean not exonerated because he
What
wasn't
kind of
convicted of it.
treatment? What kind of treatment?
Well, I don't know. Like, is there like some sort of therapy he can undergo to like not be into kids or some kind of thing? Like, normally you get registered as a sexual offender and you just, you're away from schools. No one looks at you. Like, you're kind of left even more isolated because, you're a sexual predator. You're an official, like, you're registered in like a government database that says you like to fuck kids.
I think
Or,
that
I
it's.
mean,
I don't
as
think
a
it's.
sexual or sexual offender, it's like not just fucking kids, like rapists, etc.
I think it's
Like,
treatable, but it's not curable in a sense. If that makes any sense.
hmm,
You could put the guy on like pills and have him come into I don't know, a therapist every
therapist.
week,
Yeah.
and talk about his urges or whatnot. But I don't think it's. I think a person that's sick, a person like a cult leader, a person like Michael Jackson, a serial killer, they're crazy. Their mind is
Yeah.
beyond
It's just so
normal.
sad. Like of all people,
Yeah,
it was him. You know, he was like such as you were saying. Like was such a stand-up guy. Like he donated charity. He was like he sung in like charitable thing like the We Are the World, etc. Like he brought kids up to a stage, which if he wasn't a pedophile would be totally cool and like awesome, cute thing to do. But like he was a stand-up guy. He was a creative genius. It's just so sad that it's him. Like why of all people could it be him? You know.
my honest opinion on him is that he never meant any harm to the kids. Like one of the like in the closing like third of the documentary, it
We said
explained.
spoiler alert, right? We did spoiler alert.
Yeah, yeah, but
Well,
here
if you've gotten
if you've
this
come to
far,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
if you've
the
gotten this far,
closing.
you just watch it. It's 4 hours. You can find it probably for free somewhere. Though don't do that. That's like
Yeah,
intellectual theft. But just I don't know.
yeah,
Watch it if you
but
want to or
but
don't.
what I was gonna say is that towards
Right.
the last third of the documentary, the Australian boy said that his last sexual experience with Michael Jackson was when he was, already maturing, a teen. I think he was like 14 or something. And Michael
Wow.
Jackson tried to penetrate him anally. And once he said stop, stop, it hurts, then Michael stopped. And if they never did that sort of thing again, and Michael cleanly,
Mm.
like, he wasn't, he never, I don't think he ever tried to harm the kids. And I think like when people would ask him about like harming children, he would genuinely tear up, and he would say, I'd never want to harm a child, which I don't think he's lying there, but I think that he's messed up in the
Mm.
sense that his values are fucked up. I don't think that he ever wanted to harm any of these kids though.
Right.
But he did. He messed their lives
Well,
up
yeah, he
forever.
very clearly
Yeah.
did. No, of course.
And
Um,
he's doing horrible things, but I don't think he realizes what he was doing. So
right. Well, I feel like, I mean, I think he's fully conscious what he's doing, but like, I mean, as you said, like that's like kind of different, I guess. I mean, I don't know a lot about pedophiles, but
yeah,
I guess when the kid says he's hurting, he puts the kid's needs before his. I mean, I don't know what to say about it.
yeah.
What do
No,
you
I
conclude
all
about
I'm
this whole thing?
well,
Because we're kind of low on
I'm just
time.
saying that I don't think he ever meant harm. But what he did is horrible. It's unforgivable. He should, if he was alive, he should be behind bars. Of course, we shouldn't forget that we don't know if this is the truth. There's no
Right,
conclusive
right.
evidence,
We
right?
we can't know for sure. I mean, we
Listening to
all
the
kind of know,
documentary.
but
Mhm.
there's
Listening to
nothing
the
that could
documentary definitely
imprison
immediately
him.
makes you believe every word of it, and you immediately think, like, believe the two grown men who were abused, and immediately believe everything. And if you didn't, then you're almost the villain. So, it's hard to know what's true. You know, go ahead.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I guess my take on it, like I feel like in general, you can be very successful at something. You can be like even honored, like by just like because of a certain part of your life. Like you're incredible at music, you deserve a Grammy, Michael Jackson, But you can also, be do very, very horrible things like in the side. But I think like, I mean, he's dead now. Sure, he can't, defend himself, but I think he should continue being honored for his achievements in music and that industry. But you need to remember this very dark side of him that no one ever
that
knew,
was probably
right?
spawned right from his childhood. It was
No,
a
of
growing. Yeah.
course, it's definitely a part of it, but you know, again, I don't know how to think about it. The fortunate thing for us is that I guess we don't get to decide how he ends because he's no longer here. He's dead,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
there's no punishment that we can, I guess, give him further than that of which he already did for himself, I guess. Um, but I don't know. He's just very smart guy, did a lot of cool things, but just has a very dark side to him that I guess we all need to remember.
Yeah, and I recommend everyone watch the
Oh
documentary.
yeah, totally. Watch Leaving Neverland. We'll definitely drop the link in the description. We'll put a couple other sources we use in the video if we can remember them. But
Fun
yeah,
fact: if you type in Michael Jackson on Google, you get 1,130,000,000 results.
if you type in Michael Jackson on Google,
Yeah, you get over a billion results.
damn. I was just setting up that Google alert like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, not 20.
Yeah,
Did Google exist 20 years ago?
Google
No,
did
that's besides the point.
maybe exist. I don't know. I don't think it did. Maybe it did. I have
Mm.
no idea. Oh, let's find out. I'm sorry. I need it.
Let me just look it up. All right, bonus podcast. Find out how old
Yeah.
Google was.
Founded in 1998. It is over 20 years old.
Yeah, over 20 years. No, oh, dude, I'm thinking as if it was 2010. I
Yeah,
thought I
yeah,
thought 10 years ago from two. Yeah,
yeah.
just go, dude. We're fucking old. Jesus.
That's crazy. Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
And the last thing I'd like to say about Michael Jackson is I
Yeah. Shoot.
never imagined him to be a gay, which he is, if
Oh
this
yeah,
is all
true.
true.
Yeah. I guess only he could say, but since it's all little boys, I guess yeah. I guess he's
Yeah, a gay
gay
man,
or
I should say.
bi.
But,
Yeah,
you
either
know,
gay or bi.
yeah. And the boys he molested, if that happened, which it probably did, they're married now. So, with women. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
so that's interesting. That's a cool
Yeah.
bit of child psychology. Like
Yeah.
maybe they don't necessarily know what they want to fuck until they grow up,
Yeah.
right?
No idea.
I don't
But
know.
yeah.
I'll ask some friends. I got some friends that studying child psychology. we'll see what their take is on it.
But
All right,
that's
you want to
that's
close
about
this
it
one
for
up?
this episode. Yeah. Thank you for listening. This has been the Third Win podcast with Nicholas and Frederick.
Yeet.
This is our
Yeah,
very first episode, so
our first real episode.
yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
it for
yeah.
all
If
the
you
listeners
guys,
we get.
yeah, if you guys stuck with us this long, that's really cool. We're glad you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah.
Enjoy also the random ass gameplay that we recorded and put in the background of the video. We're still trying to figure out what to put there, but I don't know. We'll probably put something good in there. Drop any tips or suggestions you have in the comments. We just we'll talk about kind of anything, I guess. So if you have an idea, drop it for us. We'll consider it. Other than that, you got anything else to say?
Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next time, real soon.
Yeah.